well. My name is Christian, and today I'm going to start off by showing you guys a video. I'm going to inform you guys on the worldwide industry of human trafficking.
I got started when I was 13.
I was really young, and the people that bought me were people that were looking for, child fetishes.
There was like 15 of them in a room, and I was really scared.
He cut me with a knife to be able to penetrate me. I was only 5.
I was crying because I was scared, and he had sex with me, and that was my first time. I still had on my school uniform.
Men who come here to abuse children in Cambodia have 99.9% of the time already abused children in their own country.
So, in reality, human trafficking is becoming an increasing human rights violation in the United States. However, most Americans assume that it only affects foreign countries. When we really stop and think about it, what is human trafficking? Who does it affect? Well, in the United States, one of the terms that is used to define it is known as domestic minor sex trafficking, which entails the involuntary force of a child to participate in a commercial sex act. A commercial sex act is the coercion of a child to perform a sexual act on a client for the exchange of an item of value. Now, with modern day society evolving, human trafficking as well has evolutionized, and it's becoming redefined. Simply, we no longer have to cross the state border. We no longer have to leave our own home in order to become victims of this crime. And the National Report on Domestic Minor Sex Trafficking defines child prostitution as a concept of choice. So when we see the headline news and we hear about children that are facing charges of prostitution, we think, well, they put themselves in that predicament. They asked to be, they're playing with fire. So that's basically what's going to happen to them. They chose this lifestyle for themselves. They did it out of free will. When in reality, themselves are victims of this crime. While they're facing charges, their pimps get to run free and rebuild their cycle of income and recruit new members for their booming business. And generally, when we contemplate the term human trafficking, we assume that it only occurs overseas. However, now I'm going to discuss with you guys the statistics and the facts of human trafficking in the United States. So a pimp had 3 women in his stable. He had them working about $500 every single night, so each of them bringing in $500 is about $1,500 a day. And a month, he was bringing in about $24,000 based on those 3 women. A year, he was making $642,000 on those 3 women. And it was all tax-free. Craigslist alone makes $36 million on erotic ads. And it's considered the #1 online hub for human trafficking. The average age of entry for victims is 12 to 14 years of age. Now that I have discussed with you guys the human trafficking in our nation, I'm going to tell you guys about the testimonials of actual victims that have experienced this firsthand. I'm going to start off with Tina. Tina was 14 years old at the time. She met an older guy, and she was having problems at home with her parents. So here comes this charming guy that sweeps her off her feet and tells her nothing but sweet, comforting words. And 6 months into the relationship, he gives her an ultimatum, and he tells her, hey, you know what? I love you. Let's run away together. Let's build a house and a family. And she was so recklessly in love that she ended up giving in to him. They ran away together, and sure enough, she ends up becoming a victim herself. On another instance, what happened was because she was fostered with a seed of manipulation. Simple words of kindness, simple words of comfort, simple words of love. That's all it took to lure her in. On another example, I'm going to talk to you guys about a testimonial that I found on Courtney's House organization on the website. And it's about a girl named Beth. Beth was 14 years old. And when her mom asked her to go to the store, she goes to the store, and it was getting dark when she came out, and there was a man in a car. The man approaches her, and he tells her, "Hey, do you need a ride?" And she says, "No, I'm fine." And she crosses the street, and she walks about 3 or 4 blocks. When she walks about 3 or 4 blocks, she notices that he's following her in his vehicle. So he gets out of his vehicle and he starts chasing after her. Then she starts to run. He catches up to her and he throws her into the back of his trunk. That's when she realizes what a pimp actually was, until that very day. So the reason why I chose this testimonial is because all of us are vulnerable at times. When we go to the HEB, when we go to the mall and we're walking to our car at night, we're all vulnerable to these instances. We're all vulnerable to this victimization of intrusion. It happens, and it can happen to anybody. Now, with that being said, now that we have discussed the reality of this organized crime, we can acknowledge the facts and reality of what is becoming a global industry of escalating demand. Most human trafficking crimes go reported as child prostitution. The National Trafficking Hotline receives more phone calls from Texas than from any other state. And many people remain unaware that more U.S. citizens are prone to trafficking than foreign nationals. Now, you guys may think or assume that it's based on race or social income, or that any one of us, because we're from a certain ethnicity, we're prone to victimization, but in reality that's not the case. It's not based on a race, it's not based on a social income. So, truth be told, we are all guilty of assuming. We have all done it. I know I've done it. I know I've assumed that, I live in a nurtured country, but in reality, human trafficking is closer to us than we think. Thank you.